All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really complex story. It's a web of allegations, lawsuits, and some genuine market mysteries. And it connects one of Wall Street's most secretive firms directly to some of Bitcoin's most bizarre recent behavior.
So for months, this really weird pattern started showing up. Every single morning, right as the US markets open, Bitcoin's price would just dump. Traders even gave it a name, the 10 a.m. slam. And then, poof, on February 26th, it just stopped. So why? To figure that out, we actually have to dig up the ghost of crypto's biggest disaster.
So what kicked all this off?
A bombshell lawsuit, that's what. It was filed on February 23rd by the people in charge of the bankrupt Terraform Labs. And it makes a direct connection between a firm called Jane Street and the infamous catastrophic collapse of Terra and Luna back in 2022.
So you see, this isn't just something that happened last week. It's really the explosive end to a story that's been building for years. It connects that crypto catastrophe from 2022, a huge fine they got over in India, and the strange market dumps we've been seeing today.
So who exactly is this firm at the center of the storm? Well, Jane Street is an absolute titan of finance. They're a giant quantitative trading firm that pretty much operates in the shadows. And here's the kicker, their role as a key player, a market maker, for the new Bitcoin ETFs, well, that's what makes all of this a really, really big deal for the entire crypto market.
Okay, so this lawsuit, it's 83 pages long, and it reads like a thriller. It claims that Jane Street got an inside track by hiring a former Terraform Labs intern and using a secret chat group. With that info, they allegedly pulled a crucial $85 million out right before the collapse. The lawsuit calls this the fatal trigger that started the whole death spiral, allowing them to dodge over $200 million in losses while everyone else got wiped out.
Now, of course, Jane Street isn't taking this lying down. They've come out swinging, calling the lawsuit a desperate money grab. They're basically saying this is a baseless attack from a bankrupt company, and that the real blame lies with Terraform's own criminal deception.
You can imagine what happened next, right? The second this news hit, crypto Twitter just went into meltdown. It was a total mess of rumors and speculation. So let's try to clear the air and figure out what's real and what's not.
Okay, first up, the huge rumor that the DOJ was launching a full-blown investigation. I mean, this thing spread like wildfire, and it totally freaks the market out. But the reality? There is zero, and I mean zero, official confirmation from the DOJ or Jane Street. For now, it's just pure social media rumor.
And then there was this other one, that Jane Street was frantically deleting all their tweets to hide the evidence. Turns out that was completely false. They didn't really have an active public account to begin with, so there was nothing to delete. It's just a perfect example of how fast fake news can spread when things get chaotic.
All right, so once we push past all the crazy rumors, what actually happened in the market? What does the data tell us? Well, the moment the lawsuit became public and that 10 a.m. dump vanished, things changed. And they changed fast.
And just look at this, the before and after is pretty incredible. Yeah, the price dipped a little when the news first broke, but the second that 10 a.m. dump pattern stopped, it soared. And that huge jump caused what's called a short squeeze, basically wiping out over $258 million for people who were betting the price would go down.
And we're not talking about a small jump here. The scale of this turnaround is absolutely staggering. The entire crypto market added more than $200 billion in value. It's like some giant weight was holding the market down every morning, and then suddenly it was just gone.
So to really get why this is all so important, you have to understand Jane Street's official job in all of this. They're an authorized participant for the new Bitcoin ETFs. You can think of them as the official middlemen, the plumbers that connect the big Wall Street money pipes directly to Bitcoin.
And right there, that's the heart of the issue, a massive potential conflict of interest. The very company that's supposed to keep the ETF market running smoothly was being accused of, well, rigging the game for its own benefit. And yet, even with all this drama, the big money just kept flowing into the ETFs, showing how hungry institutions still are for Bitcoin.
You know, this whole thing with Jane Street, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's actually part of a much bigger story, a constant tug-of-war between these super powerful trading firms and the regulators trying to keep them in check. And it kind of reveals a pattern.
And here's a perfect example of that pattern. Just last year, regulators in India hit Jane Street with a massive nearly $600 million fine for what they called a malicious market manipulation scheme. Critics are pointing to this and saying, see, this is their playbook.
So you've got the lawsuit, you've got the crazy market reaction, you've got this history of fines. It's really easy to just point the finger and say, they did it. But hold on. There's another way to look at this, a really important counterargument that kind of brings us all the way back to square one.
Sam Kessler from the Wall Street Journal basically says, hey everyone, let's not get distracted here. He's arguing that blaming Jane Street is missing the point. The real problem, the original sin, was always Terra itself. It was a flawed, fraudulent system built on a lie by Do Kwon, a lie he went to jail for.
And all of this leaves us with a really big, kind of uncomfortable question for the future of crypto. The whole Jane Street affair shows us the double-edged sword of having these big institutions involved. Do we need their capital and their systems for crypto to go mainstream, or are their old-school Wall Street games going to corrupt and undermine the whole point of crypto in the first place? The answer to that question, well, that could define everything for the next era of crypto.